Transport for London faced a series of regulatory and operational questions as it prepares for the arrival of autonomous vehicle trials in the capital. Uber has announced its intention to begin public road trials of fully driverless vehicles in London from next year, prompting discussions at City Hall about safety, licensing and employment implications. TfL officials told London Assembly's Transport Committee that their overriding concern is safety. Christina Calderatto, Director of Transport Strategy and Policy at TfL, said any development of autonomous vehicles must contribute to Vision Zero, the policy targeting the elimination of deaths and serious injuries on London's roads. Calderatto confirmed that TfL is working with the government and private operators, including Uber, to understand how AVs can be integrated safely and efficiently. However, the arrival of AVs raises concerns about their regulatory classification. TfL stated that current AV proposals would not be classified as either taxis or private hire vehicles, meaning they will fall outside existing regulatory frameworks. This could potentially undermine existing standards applied to licensed services. Helen Chapman, TfL's Director of Licensing, Regulation and Charging, said AV operations may require a new category of permit, but admitted the specifics are still being developed in collaboration with the government. Until legislative reforms are enacted, TfL's ability to impose safety and accessibility standards on AV operators remain unclear. Accessibility was another area of concern raised by Assembly members. Questions were asked about whether the new autonomous vehicles would be suitable for disabled passengers, particularly in the absence of features such as drop-down curbs or audio-visual announcements. Calderatto said the issues would be part of TfL's input into the government's consultation, but admitted there is currently no regulation requirement for AVs to meet accessibility standards. The potential impact on employment in the private hire and taxi sectors also formed a significant part of the discussion. While TfL insists that AVs will not be treated as PHV services, they acknowledge that the introduction of unregulated driverless vehicles could affect demand for licensed drivers. TfL stops short of proposing protections for current drivers or any transitional support if jobs are displaced. The use of AVs could also have implications for congestion. While shared autonomous fleets might reduce car ownership in theory, concerns were raised about increased traffic if large numbers of AVs are deployed. TfL said it will monitor the impact of trials to assess how AVs interact with other traffic and what effect that may have on road space and journey times. TfL also confirmed that data transparency would be critical to the success of the trials. There were calls for AV operators, including Uber, to share safety and performance data with the authority. Members of the committee drew comparisons to cities like New York, where data sharing is a licensing condition. TfL responded that changes to legislation would be required to enforce such requirement in London. In the absence of detailed regulatory control, some Assembly members expressed concerns about the potential of a growing fleet of unregulated AVs operating without accountability. They urged TfL to push for national legislation that ensures safety, accessibility, congestion control and driver protections remain central to the introduction of AV technology. As trials begin, TfL says it will report back on its findings and continue discussions with both the government and operators. However, questions remain about how London can balance innovation in mobility with the need to protect passengers, workers, and the integrity of the transport system.